Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Jasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jana Braja Janada Jasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jana Braja Janaran Jamuna Tira Vanachadi Vanachadi Yamuna Tira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachadi Yamuna Tira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayom Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Pariviragacharya Astatara Satasi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gaur Premanandi Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya This morning we'll be continuing with Canto 10, Chapter 38, and we'll be covering just 2 verses, starting with text 21. We've been hearing about the hand of Krishna, its benedictory power, how it will, Akrura is contemplating, Krishna will touch his head with his hand, Krishna will touch his head, and that hand creates fearlessness and so forth. And We also then heard how that benedictory hand resulted in two persons becoming Indra, and how it affected the gopis, or how his hand was affected by the perspiration of the gopis, the loving exchange, the expert dealings of Krishna with his loving devotees, the gopis. So now we're going to hear more about Krishna's glories, and let's see here. The text we're going to begin with is text 19. 10:38:19 and 10:38:20. Thus, he wants more than paying obeisances, he wants more than having his head touched, he wants more. He's greedy. Spiritually greedy. He wants Krishna's smile. Thus, he will cast his smiling, affectionate glance upon me as I remain fixed with joined palms, fallen in obeisances at his feet. Then all my contamination will at once be dispelled. It was already dispelled by the touch of his hand, but now it's more dispelled by his smiling glance. And I will give up all doubts and feel the most intense bliss. He's blissful, thinking about the blissfulness he'll feel. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, will he not look at me, offering respects at his lotus feet, with merciful glance? Immediately I will achieve increased bliss, and all fear will be gone, for the Lord certainly knows my heart. That fear is, he may think badly of me because I'm here on behalf of Kamsa. But we heard, he's omniscient, so he won't misunderstand me. All my sins from serving Kamsa, or desires for liberation, etc., will be destroyed. Apa, dvashta, samasta, kilbishaha. All my fears will be removed. Or, thinking of receiving mercy, the Lord will not only place his hand on my head, but will cast a smiling glance. This is Akrura's further desire. Being attentive, with folded hands, at his feet, perhaps he will glance at me. Jiva Goswami writes, all my sins in serving Kamsa will be destroyed. All my fears will be removed. And we mentioned this yesterday, but we'll now go into it. In the verse, text 19, those of you that have your little handheld devices, you'll see the word yadi. And yadi is mentioned in the commentary here. In his commentary, Sridhar Swami uses the word yadi to mean certainly, as in the following. Nanyasya barhishi balin datta swa bhagan datte padam tvam avita yadi vigna murdni. That's from 11th Canto, Chapter 4. Translation reads, but because you are the protector of your devotee is able to step over the head of whatever obstacles the devatas place before him. I'll read the BBT translation of the whole verse, 11:4:10. This is the demigods and their having sent Kamadev, particularly Indra, sent Kamadev to distract Narayan. Didn't work. It was an offense to Narayan. The demigods point out their disposition for those that are striving for the supreme abode. They place obstacles, but Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, certainly, Yadi, will help those who take shelter of the Lord overcome those obstacles. So in case you feel some obstacles in your daily devotional life, even if they're coming from demigods, the personality of Godhead will certainly help you overcome them. So here's the translation. The demigods place many obstacles on the path of those who worship you to transcend the temporary abodes of the demigods and reach your supreme abode. Those who offer the demigods their assigned shares in sacrificial performances encounter no such obstacles, but because you are the direct protector of your devotee, he, your devotee, is able to step over the head of whatever obstacles the demigods place before him. And the BBT purport reads, the demigods headed by Kamadev or Cupid, recognizing their offense at the lotus feet of the personality Godhead Narayan Rishi, here point out the insignificant position of the demigods in relation to the Supreme Lord. So Cupid was sent to present an obstacle. No obstacle can stop. Certainly, no obstacle can stop the mercy of the personality of Godhead flowing to one who surrenders to him. So the context here is this word certainly, as certainly the Lord will see me with his favorable glance, yadi. It's something of a conjecture, but it's at the same time it's a certainty. Or Akrura develops another desire. What's that? In addition to the hand and folded palms and obeisances, he wants his favorable glance and smile. Being definitely dissatisfied by his nature as a devotee. He is we've been hearing from Jiva Goswami in particular, there are waves of transcendental emotion, bhavas, that are moving the heart of Akrura. He's rising and falling, and he's just being tossed around by the waves of bhava. And one of those that reoccurs, natural bhava, is the bhava of intense, profound humility. So he's feeling not badly about himself, but he's feeling quite uncomfortable with the fact that, at least externally, looks like he's here on a mission on behalf of Kamsa to cause Krishna problem. More than cause Krishna problem, to kill Krishna. So he feels badly about that. We may feel badly about something, whatever that something is. If you're a Akrura, then it's a transcendental ecstasy. Humility is not bad. He doesn't. His humility doesn't check his forward progress. It gives rise to yet another ecstasy. That is the mercifulness of the Supreme Lord. He looks to that. even more. And an application of that for us is um, the Shikshashtaka number 3. In Shikshashtaka 2, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes the wonders of the holy name, and Krishna has made access to him readily available with many, many, many names, each name invested with all potencies, and there's no hard and fast rules in the manner of chanting. And knowing all these things, still I have no attraction for them. Sound familiar? So the very first recommendation is this being very humble. And being very humble isn't a material kind of humble, it's a spiritual kind of humble that Akrura is feeling. So it's not, you're supposed to do that when you're a new devotee, and when you're beyond being a new devotee, humility vanishes. Not so. It becomes more profound. So it's kind of like a baseline that he keeps going back to, is profound humility. But then Asha Bandha, the hope against hope, my only hope is Krishna's kind. And that I'm resting everything there, the kindness of Krishna. So although I'm here representing Kamsa, Krishna is very kind, he's all-knowing. He'll not only place his hand on my head and accept my offering of obeisances very kindly, but he'll smile and glance, letting me know it's okay. And all my sins will be gone, all my fears are gone, and that the bliss that I will have already been experiencing, seeing him, will just go over the top. Just his smile and his glance. Text 20. Recognizing me as an intimate friend and relative, Krishna will embrace me with his mighty arms. He's a little boy, not even 12 years old. His mighty arms, and their mighty arms, instantly sanctifying my body and diminishing to nil all my material bondage, which is due to fruitive activities. So there's some philosophy laced into his words. The bondage that we have, karma bandhana, it's the intention of finding happiness through fruitive activities. And that intention keeps repeating itself, like very predictably, very consistently, moment to moment, at different stages of our lives, and on to the next life, and on to the next life. And it's the bondage of material existence. So beyond material existence is the ecstasy of love for Krishna. So that the bondage element, liberation from the bondage of fruitive activity, karma atmaka bandha, the bondage of due to fruitive activity, broken. Chindanti kovidas tasyat koryat papasya samshaya. Same ideas expressed earlier in Canto 1, Chapter 2. This remembrance of Krishna. So that's all. His mind is absorbed in Krishna, and he hasn't seen Krishna yet, but he's nonetheless feeling ecstasy in anticipation of seeing Krishna. So what about us? Are we eager to see Krishna? Or eager to be with Krishna? We're chanting Krishna's name. What's the consciousness behind our activity of chanting Krishna's name? Are we recognizing that we're with Krishna, or Krishna is with us by the medium of his holy name? Probably not. But there's a lot of inspiration in hearing Akrura's contemplation, even specifically when we're chanting the Hare Krishna mantra every day. Consider it when maybe you're already doing it, but when you chant the rest of your rounds today or tomorrow morning's japa, think of this mood. The practical application is the mood of anticipation. And then in that anticipation, at least as far as Akrura goes, it goes to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Because it's a relationship. So he, Akrura, is a member of the Yadu dynasty. And Krishna is a member of the Yadu dynasty. At least in terms of that portion of the Yadu dynasty that's in Braja. It goes back in history where Shurasena married a Vaishya wife, and Parjanya was born from that Vaishya wife, and he was given sovereignty over Braja, the agriculture and cowherd protection service, but still part of the Yadu dynasty. And so Krishna is part of the Yadu dynasty. Akrura is saying he's my relative. He's a little boy. And Akrura is an old man, and he's at his feet, folded palms, looking up. Offering obeisances, hoping to catch Krishna's favorable glance, freeing him from all fear, all apprehension, all contamination. Vishwanath writes, he will embrace me because we are best of friends. Now his rasa is dasya, but just like the spiritual master is one's dear friend and Krishna is one's dear friend, Suradam Sarvadehinam, he's the best friend. A proper relationship of master to servant is the master is the best friend of the servant, although the relationship is servant to master. Master is very friendly towards the servant. He will embrace me because we are best of friends and also because we are relatives. Gyatim. Among relatives, I am imbued with a mood of exclusive servitude. Ananyadaivatvam, or Aikantika Dasya Vatam, toward him. By Krishna's embrace, my body will become pure and act as a holy tirtha to purify others. Afterwards, I will become liberated from material existence. He's already liberated. But Jiva Goswami writes, again dissatisfied. This is his dainya bhav. We feel sometimes dissatisfied. It's probably not a bhav, but it's a hint or shadow or something like that of a higher stage. So the humility should give rise to deeper shelter and more. I need to be more enthusiastic. I need more mercy. Real humility, like Shikshastaka 3, same point, it gives rise to a stronger shelter taking, a transcendental shelter taking. I have no qualification, but please accept me. Mood. Again, dissatisfied, Akrura develops another desire. He will embrace me. as the greatest of friends, since I have helped Vasudev. This is the understanding of the friendship explained in a different way. His father, Vasudev, was being assisted by Akrura, and because of assisting his father, friendship towards Akrura. He will embrace me using his arms because of the deep embrace, my body will be made into a holy tirtha, though now I am impure. This is a statement of humility, dainya. There we go again. That's one of the 33 sanchari bhavas we've been discussing. The word eva indicates no dependence on others. The one of the elements, one of the qualities or features of surrender is one places one's full shelter upon Krishna. It came up during our Ramayana discussion, or personalities in Ramayana, that one of the features of surrender is I have no sense of independence. I'm fully dependent on Krishna, or in Ramayana upon Ram, or the personality of Godhead. Fully dependent. But here, Krishna's not dependent. Akrura is fully dependent. But he's not dependent on others. He's not dependent upon Kamsa. He's navigating that territory of dealing with Kamsa very carefully, but he's dependent upon Krishna, not dependent upon others. That's one of the qualities of the yoga practice. Exclusive dependence upon the personality of Godhead means one is not dependent upon others. It doesn't mean you don't take others into consideration and respect them and so forth, but your contentment, your happiness, your choices are not dependent upon others. You move appropriately, but you're not dependent upon others. This is part of the full surrender to Krishna message. Last paragraph. The bondage of my prarabdha karma will be destroyed, because my body will be capable of purifying others by his touch. My body will become a tirtha. Not only that, but if others see my body, their karmas will be destroyed. What's prarabdha karma? If you read Nectar Devotion, you'll know what prarabdha karma is. That's described in other places also. Prarabdha karma is karma that's happening now. Good, bad, or mix. It's what the fruit of past activity that's happening now. That's prarabdha karma. And there's other stages before that. So he's anticipating that he'll become freed from sins, the sin specifically of being in the company of Kamsa. It's a little bit, not the same, it's a little bit like Vidura, when Vidura left the royal assembly to go on pilgrimage, he could have just gone to Krishna and be with Krishna. Leave that bad place, contaminated place, and go be with Krishna. And Krishna loved him, and he loved Krishna, but he didn't. he was feeling, I'm too contaminated to be in continuous association with Krishna, so I should go purify myself. And the means of purification was visiting holy places. So he did that. Here's Akrura understanding by the embrace of Krishna, the touch, the glance, the smile, the warm embrace, all sinful reactions, prarabdha karma will be gone. And because of that, there's two further steps. When I go back to Mathura, now be an agent to purify others um, by being in touch with me. And even beyond that, just seeing me. So this is the effect of someone who becomes purified. Their presence in this world, by touching them, by just seeing them, one can become purified. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to hear some of the Prabhupada memories, those recordings, but there's many testimonials where Prabhupada's glance, the devotee expresses they felt something. His smile, they felt something. That they just, all of their troubles and sinful contamination just flew away. And they felt something. They felt ecstatic. Just visual. What to speak of touch, what to speak of beyond that, rendering of service. And not just because one wants to, have that good feeling again and again, but the further purification that comes from similar, like deity worship or doing things for Krishna service and meditating upon Krishna as you're doing that service. It's purification. It's a life of purification, and the Krishna connection is made positive, firm by that lifestyle. I mean, what Akrura is going through is what Akrura is going through, and what we're going through is what we're going through. But the principles aren't so different. The stage of spiritual progress is quite different, but the principles are quite the same. So we can learn a lot. I really like this section. We can learn a lot about progressing on the path of devotional practice from Akrura's words and the commentary of our acharyas to help us appreciate them more deeply. So I'll end there, see if there's some discussion this morning.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. When doing a service, having the understanding that I'm not capable of doing it and I'm depending on Krishna. I don't have the full realization, but having the understanding. And while doing the service, I some bad feeling comes, or I feel that I haven't done it properly. Um, is it the right attitude to think that, okay, I'm leaving it to Krishna, he will correct me in whatever way
Yes.
he will?
Yes.
Because for me to let go of that being too much of self-conscious and focusing on, okay, I'm leaving it to Krishna, he will show me how I should change or how I should be doing it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Introspection and I mean, Let's take Vyasadeva. Look what he did. And when he was all done, he was dissatisfied. And Narada told him, what you did was flawless. You didn't make mistakes. But too much emphasis on this and not enough emphasis on that. And so now do that. So the correction came. And correction can come in different ways. So the feeling I didn't do it right can be productive or unproductive. It's mode of ignorance if you just get stuck there. Oh, I'm always doing things inadequately and boo-hoo and all those, stuck in the mode of ignorance, lamentation, moroseness, despondency. So that's unwholesome. The other is wholesome. And the wholesome is it leads to further deepening of one's shelter and inspiration and so forth. And the reciprocation is there from Krishna, may come in different ways, which are however he wants. It can include, you're consulting others and saying, how can I improve? And somebody wrote to me like this, just happened at their workplace yesterday. There was a mix-up and they spoke in a way that they shouldn't have spoken. And they felt bad about it afterwards, and they did it before. And so how do I handle this emotion? Said, if you have the relationship with your superiors, you go and share. I learned a lesson. And I learned it. Yeah, so it depends on circumstance. But, we can turn to others, and that's also another way to learn of how we can improve and so forth. It can come different ways. Okay?
I have two questions. You were explaining about spiritual humble and
About
material spiritual humility,
spiritual humility
and material humility. And you gave example about neophytes or who are coming first to Krishna consciousness is spiritual humility and
such as what?
Spiritual humility.
Could you take the mask off? It's muffled, your voice. Thanks. And afterwards you put it back on.
So I'm trying to understand difference between...
You want to know how to explain to new people what spiritual humility is?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Well, it's depends on the person, but compare contrast is a good teaching technique. That is, here's what material humility looks like. Here's what spiritual humility looks like. Here's the difference between the two. And material humility, that's not respected. It's people cower and tremble and fade away and feel bad about themselves. And that kind of material humility, there's other ways that it can look like. But there, a spiritual humility looks different and it feels different. And the result is different. It doesn't result in feeling bad about oneself. It doesn't result in taking shelter of passion or ignorance to numb that feeling that I'm not good enough. Turn into, a pretender and a macho person because I don't like that feeling I'm not good enough. Anyway, the spiritual humility is what it is. And so depends on the person and their capacity and the situation and your relationship with them and how you explain it to them. But have the main tool in your hand is to having practiced spiritual humility, be able to explain what it is and be consistent with it. That's another, not understanding, but you live by that principle. And sometimes it doesn't even need to be explained. Just exhibiting spiritual humility teaches people what spiritual humility is. Next.
Maharaj, that as Akrura explained, I too feel that I have greed, and I feel I'm not qualified to serve Krishna and my devotees.
Good.
Um, but yeah, I same way that I'm getting obstacles, as Akrura mentioned that like he got even like demigods making obstacles they can overcome, but I feel that I'm not able to overcome obstacles because of my condition. So how to process that, Guru Maharaj?
Well, you can't overcome obstacles, but Krishna can carry you beyond obstacles. You can serve, and Krishna can carry you beyond obstacles. The intelligence of how to serve in XYZ circumstances, and that intelligence comes from Krishna. So the solution is not, you're not able. That's the negative humility or material humility. The spiritual one is I'm very tiny and I don't have intelligence, I don't have strength, and etc. I don't have sufficient. So I'm going to, with commitment, I'm going to depend upon Krishna, and Krishna will help me. It's relationship with Krishna from a very realistic vantage point. And then there's confidence. And even with that confidence, you may err, you may be inadequate, you may be so many things, but you carry on because you know Krishna's there, and Krishna will help you. And you learn from mistakes, and you apologize when you make mistakes, and you don't repeat them, and as best you can. So that's our when there's shelter, there's hope. And that's where you turn to when you feeling that feeling that you just expressed. Krishna is very kind. Let me try. A friend just yesterday sent me um, a discussion between Prabhupada and Hari Sori. And Hari Sori was saying it's really difficult helping conditioned souls to understand this message of bhakti. And Prabhupada went into a long narration about um, a few things. He had no hope that he would be able to bring Krishna consciousness to the audience that was in front of him. That wasn't his criterion for success. His criterion for success was the order of his spiritual master and just carrying out the order in a detached manner, carrying out the order of his spiritual master. And whatever came is, the credit goes to his spiritual master. And so that's founder Acharya. So what to speak of little us? So our task is not to make the world Krishna conscious. Our task is whatever you can describe, your particular service. For all of us, extending bhakti to others, being exemplary bhaktas ourselves, starting within our families, and then extending concentrically out, that's our life. And then the various duties and in the workplace and so forth and so on. The life has its challenges and life has its opportunities. It's to be Krishna conscious in all those circumstances. And Krishna, we're inadequate. Krishna is very kind, and He's appealing to us. Please engage in my service. But I'm inadequate. That's okay. Please engage in my service, and I'll help you. So in the service mood that's detached from, you know, I'm going to be the doer that's going to get a good result, and people will pat me on the back and give me 5 gold stars on my report card and all those kinds of things in the service mode. And to the degree that we can go there, we'll be contented and we'll be effective. Other comments, questions?
Mm. Guru Maharaj, uh, I'll speak loudly.
Thank you.
Demigods placing the obstacles, no, being the devotees of, they are also being the devotees of the Lord.
Yeah, why are they
Is
placing obstacles?
is it just for the, because of the will of the Lord, or?
I've never heard anything like that before. But the indication is specifically in the verse, they place obstacles because they want those people that are going to the Lord to offer things to them instead of to the Lord. Sacrifice the offerings of the sacrifice go to the demigods. It's greedy. Now, it's not to say every demigod is greedy and every demigod does that for that purpose, but that's what the verse is saying. Now, there may be demigods that make obstacles to make your determination stronger. There may be demigods that remove obstacles because they see you're trying to serve the Lord. It's not only one thing. Sometimes you can say. Okay?
I was just appreciating the Akrura's mood,
Yeah.
that how he wanted to receive the mercy from the Lord, and also he was saying that no, whoever sees me or come in touch with me, they will also get purified. So I was just thinking, is it a right way of understanding?
Yeah.
Whatever we no, there's nothing wrong to ask the Lord, but in the mood of service, that
Yeah.
that to passing on to others.
And it's true. Besides the mood is nice. If any one of us, this is the way that Vaishnavas overcome envy. If any one of us, or anyone anywhere, any Vaishnava anywhere, becomes spiritually elevated, that's beneficial for everybody else. Krishna is pleased, and everyone else becomes benefited. So that the fellow Prabhus make nice advancement, and then your envy is out the window. And oneself let me strive to make advancements so that I can become a better instrument for carrying the message of Krishna and being an example of the message of Krishna, because that's purity is the force. So those are non-material aspirations. Very beneficial. Anything? Yes, in the back, all the way.
I was further thinking about demigods putting obstacles. I was thinking about like why in Bhagavad Gita Krishna says that of the senses I am the mind, and the mind puts so many obstacles in chanting the holy name. Is that the same? Like
No. No. Not the same.
If mind is Krishna, it's not Krishna, but it's
the question you're asking is about the demigods, and in what way do they place obstacles. It's not by the distracted things that go into the mind. That's not how the demigods create obstacles. Aniruddha is the lord of the mind, not the demigods. Now, there may be a circumstance out there that the demigods, because they're sanctioning something out there. The mind going to that something out there in a way that's a distraction, it's not the cause of the demigods, it's the cause of the mind. Because a Krishna conscious person, so the obstacles might be, you know, whatever, a car accident or coronavirus or something. But those obstacles are crossed over. Okay? If your mind is oriented properly, those aren't obstacles. It's just opportunities for rendering service of some kind or another. That's when the mind is oriented properly, aligned to pleasing Krishna in whatever the circumstance. Okay?
So the exercise of bringing the mind again to the holy name,
That's
is
bhakti. Okay. Prabhupada ki jai.